guys, LEGO Master 365 here, and welcome to a new Matt's Models. This idea has been floating around in my head since the model was released, and I'm glad I'm finally doing it. Today, I'll be showing off my fantasy Day Out with Thomas the Tank Engine. I've always been a fan of how Heritage Railways in the UK just use whatever 060 tank engine they have and turn it into Thomas. It makes each one look unique and personal, and it also tells you what railway you're at. A few years ago, Planet Industrials hit the scene with their first ready-to-run 00 scale model of a Kerr Stuart Victory class. As soon as I saw this engine, I thought that this was the perfect type of engine to make one of those UK Thomas engines. At the beginning of July this year, Rails of Sheffield did a clearance sale on the Victory class, so I decided it was finally time to bite the bullet and make my own Thomas. Since this was just going to be a simple repaint of a ready-to-run model, there was very little modification I had to do to it. But there's still some modifications I want to do to make this as based in real life as possible. The model comes with several extra details to make your model as personal as you can make it, so I chose these two tall sandboxes to act as makeshift splashers. I know they're not actually splashers, but without them in the extended tanks, Thomas looks a bit bare. I also added this toolbox onto the fireman's window because I thought it looked fun there. I did a tiny bit of research into the class and found that the last two of the class were scrapped in 1969, and I thought that this model would make the most sense being one of them. The two engines, 3066 and 3071, both spent their final days at the NCB where they gained these ladders on the front of the tanks. 3066 was one of the first two of these locomotives built, and they were built by a different builder who gave them noticeably taller cabs. This then narrowed down my Thomas to be 3071. I actually couldn't find any pictures of 3071 at all. Like, look at this lineup. Out of these numbers, do you want to guess which one 3071 was? That's right, 15. Oh hey, like Strasbourg Thomas. Anyway, I spent an afternoon soldering together these minuscule ladders out of spare brass wires from some Dundas wagon kits. This was my first time soldering together little details like this, and I don't think they came out too bad. I'll just put the globbier ladder on the fireman's side. Well, with all those details fitted, let's get to painting. A lot of masking tape and a quick prime with Tamiya primer later, it was time for the blue. For the blue, I used the official mix that all railways have to use for Thomas Blue, that being PMS 299. I had an unused can from an old Strasbourg Thomas model that I never finished, so I had the chance to use it here. Now, I don't really like using the proper paint mixes on miniature models, as they tend to not look right when scaled down, but I'm breaking that rule because it's fun to say that this is the real blue. It also laid pretty nicely. For the red, however, I used Rust-Oleum Apple Red, which is the same red I used on my Season 3 Thomas. The buffer beam was already a nice faded red, which I think might have matched the blue better, but there was no way I was going to be able to match that red along the side of the running board. Once all that paint was dry, the masking tape could come off, and the model was reassembled. I wanted to make this model to run on my Preservation Railway layout, so I made a crew for him. I got some Model U figures and some fun poses and painted them up. I custom mixed the dark blue jumpsuit using a purplish blue, black, and a drop of white to lighten it all up. It came out great, and looked even better when the figures were given a black wash.
I know what's wrong with it. Ain't got no gas in it.
Now for the lining. I used my standard waterslide transfer method using Fox Transfer's 0.75mm red lining. The curve on the bunker was so tricky, but I think it came out alright in the end. I have some LMS waterslide transfers that I could use for the number 1, but I think it would look better with the proper TV series one. So until I get one, it'll stay this way. I added a coal load into the bunker that's sunk in the middle to look like it's being used. I glued it in by mixing Mod Podge with water and adding a drop of dish soap to help break the surface tension. However, I forgot that there was no permanent floor in the coal bunker, and the glue started to seep out from the bottom and onto the buffer beam. I quickly cleaned it up with some Q-tips and placed him vertically in the train cabinet to let the glue dry. Thankfully, since the glue I used was Mod Podge, which is also a clear coat, there wasn't any damage done to the model. And with that last minute fright out of the way, Thomas is ready to roll. This Thomas was super fun to make and still has a couple details that need to be finished, but I'm happy with him nonetheless. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed me make this model, come see him for yourself at the Greenberg Train and Toy Show in Edison, New Jersey with the Northwestern Modelers. He's on display today, August 10th, and tomorrow, August 11th, all day at the show from 10 to 4. We hope to see you there. That's all for now. Bye!